what we're going to look at now is part B, which are options. Okay, 15 marks in this example. Show what options position traders most likely to select for both the foreign and the Canadian dollar. So here we have our options contracts. June and September, they happen to be set up just like the futures. Okay, remember these are derivatives, okay? So they're going to have the same kind of expiration months. And we have calls and puts. We have these prices. Do you know what these are called? These are called strike prices, okay? So this is, you're going to be buying or selling into these. We also have, just like the futures, the contract size we need to know, because this is going to help us identify how many contracts we're going to buy and so on, okay? We also have more information here that the premiums are priced in the foreign per euro and the dollar per euro. You know, we don't have to divide by 100 into these, so they're already divided by 100 for us. We can just add or subtract them on. For the moment, I think based on the question, that's all we need to know, and we need to run with that. It's always a good idea to find out what the spot prices are. So anyway, let's look at the solution to this. Let's do the exporter first. Okay, because we dealt with the exporter for the futures first. Here's this information all over again. And I have it here in italics. Okay, because we have to establish whether we're going to be buying calls or buying puts. So notice that I didn't say anything about selling, because why am I not selling? Why am I not saying anything about selling? Because with futures, we are bought futures, but we sold futures. The options were either going to be buying calls or buying puts. I'm not saying buy calls or sell calls, or I'm not saying buy puts and sell puts. And does that confuse anyone?
Sorry, could you just repeat that, Frank, please?
Yeah, you know, if you recall, when I did the futures contracts up here, we established for the exporter that we were going to be buying futures, and for the importer, we established that we're going to sell futures. And when we're dealing with options, I mentioned to you, should we be buying calls or buying puts? And some people might be confused as to why I didn't use the word sell, just like the way I used the word sell futures. So why am I saying buy calls or buy puts as opposed to buy calls and sell puts, or buy puts and sell calls? Why am I not using the word sell here?
Because you're not issuing the option.
Yeah, we're not writing. We want to protect it. Remember, we're hedging here. With options, we are buying contracts to hedge our position. So you're going to hedge either in either direction, whatever way you think the currency or the commodity is going to go. So for example, let's keep it simple for the moment. If you felt, let's use oil for the example here, because I think it's easier to pick a commodity. If you felt the price of oil was going to rise, you will buy a call option. If you feel the price of oil was going to fall, you would buy a put option. So the word put implies a selling action. Again, if that's new to you, or this is only kind of clearing things up for you, you need to write it down. Put implies selling. So if you feel the price is going to go down, you need to buy a put option, because that buying a put implies you're selling, and you will make money if the commodity falls in price. Okay, so let's have a look here what we're doing. This is all very similar to the futures. So remember, we are the exporter. We are the exporter. If you recall, we exported goods. We're going to receive Hungarian forint. We're going to sell the forint, and we're going to buy the euro. It's important to find out what the underlying contract is written in, and it's written in euro. And because you're buying euro, the contract is in euro, you are going to buy a call option. Okay. And again, I have September there. We already established that because you're given 3 months credit, and from April, June is expired, and you want to go into July. So September is your available contract. So if you're going to be buying the contract, you're going to be, the buying action is implied with call. It's not this here. you're always going to be buying, whether buying puts or calls, you're always buying. The buy here is represented or implied by this call option. That's what we mean by buying that contract, call option. So link those two together for options, okay? Right, now we have two strikes that were available to us. If you recall, there was a 310 and a 315. So let's take those individually, and you'll notice, and I'm going to flick back up to the importer, you'll notice that we're going to repeat that exercise again for its strike prices, 138 and 140. So you're doing this, you're doing one thing 4 times, which is pretty handy, you know, for 15% of the exam paper. So 310, right, what does that mean? That just says, well, if we're going to be having to receive 210 million forint, and if we lock in the rate of 310, this is like a contract, okay, but we opt out of it if it doesn't work out for us, unlike the futures and a forward. So if we choose this option strike at 310, this is what we'll actually receive, okay? So these are scenarios, what if, all right? So how much is that going to cost me? Well, firstly, I want to find out how many contracts I need, and there's your contract size. So and notice it's in euro. I'm dividing into euro. Okay, so this is 5.42 contracts. I can't buy part contracts. So in this case, I've rounded up to 6. I could have rounded down to 5. So there's my 6 contracts. How much is each contract going to be? So each one is worth 125,000 euro. And this is your premium. Let's jump back in and find out where the 8.3 is coming from. We had chosen, we're dealing with the strike. We chose September calls, and that's the price for a September call. So all of those numbers there, you only isolate one of them, and that's what we're choosing. The 310 for September. We didn't go puts, we went with calls. So the 8.3, we don't have to divide that by 100 because it's already in forint per euro. And that's the cost of the contract. To buy the equivalent of 6 by 125,000, 750,000 euros worth or something like that, but a premium of 8.3 is going to cost us 6.225 million Hungarian forint, okay? Then we have to pay this over. See this, what I've highlighted? What exchange rate is this? Because I have to pay this money to buy the contract. Is that a futures? Is that a spot, or is that an options?
It's a spot.
That's the spot, because you have to pay it over. Remember, the 310 doesn't exist in reality. It only exists in a derivatives market like the option. Futures, we're not dealing with futures markets. We have to pay this money, so you just pay that spot. So this, again, if you need to make a note, when you're converting your premium into your home currency or euro, you need to use the spot price, okay? And that's how much it's costing us. So this here is like protection or insurance, just in case something happens. So this total receipt is not a total receipt. You're not receiving it. Remember, these are scenarios, a what if. So if I ended up exercising this strike of 310, I'll end up receiving 677. There it is. That is the same as this number. Minus my premium, that's that number, is going to give me the 657. In other words, that's my total receipt if I exercise my option. Why am I subtracting the premium? I'm subtracting the premium because I'm paying insurance, okay? Just in case something goes wrong with the exchange rate that I didn't like, okay? So I'm definitely going to lose this. It's like, again, you going on a holiday, and you take out insurance on your holiday, just in case a scenario happens. What if I was hospitalized? Let's take out insurance. You go on your holiday, nothing happens. You don't claim that money back. If your insurance cost you, say, 20 euro, you don't claim that back. You let the insurance company keep it. So this is always going to be kept by the writer of that call option. And the only way you're going to get this back is if the exchange rate goes in your favor and you're able to recover it, okay? So that's your total receipt. This is what you're going to expect if that scenario happens. Then we look at other options. I'm only putting up 2 strike prices here. In reality, you're going to have hundreds of them. Okay, so let's choose the other one, 315, and you repeat exactly what we've just done here. Okay, so there you have your 210. The only difference is you have your 315 instead of your 310. You get all the sixes. You convert it, or sorry, you divide that by your contract size, which we see here again. The contract's 5.33, decided to round to 5. 5 by the contract size, 125,000 euro, but we have a different premium. Okay, so we've only seen a couple of differences already, the premium and the strike, leading to different answers. So where am I getting this premium? Again, that's in your question. If I had chosen the 315 strike instead of the 310, I would, remember you're taking September calls, I would take this premium. And that's a cheaper premium. You might think that's a no-brainer. It's going to cost me almost half the price of the 310. But this is why we're making comparisons. Should we go with a cheaper premium, or should we end up going with the final answer that we'll make a comparison with? So that 4.2 means that we have to pay 2.6 million Hungarian forint. And if I convert that at spot, look at this number is the same, spot price. If I convert that at the spot, my premium payment is only 8,500, a lot better than the 20,000. You might think better insurance, okay? But here's the scenario. What if I had to exercise at the 315? Well, if I exercised at the 315, this is what I'll end up receiving, the 666. I end up losing my premium because I handed it over to the writer, and this is my final outcome, 658,000. So you notice you've lost, in comparison to the strike, 677 and the 666, you've lost out 11,000 euro. And you might think, well, I'd rather this one, okay, because it's 11,000 better. But look at the premium. That's why the premium is so expensive, because it gives you a more favorable outcome. 11,000 cheaper, your premium is cheaper. But I'd rather that, to be honest, okay, because if you see the numbers, the 658,000 compared to the 657,000, it's almost the same. This is actually better, and your premium is cheaper. Okay, so you could come from that angle. Both the premium and the total receipts are a lot cheaper. I would go with 315, and that's what I have here. You will go with the call option with a strike at 315.